welcome to your safe space, the podcast your partner, friends, parents, whoever thinks it's dirty. Don't have time to read books? Want to understand all the jokes in the TikToks? We got you, fam. We're the Spice Traders, and we deal in spicy books. I'm Katie, and I need it to make sense.
I'm Liz, and I'm hypercritical.
Before we get to today's episode, we want to encourage you to check out our Patreon, where we publish extra episodes every other week, as well as ad-free versions of our regular feed episodes. Also, any series we read past the first book, all that coverage is Patreon only, so think series like ACOTAR, Fourth Wing, Guild. Anyway, we really appreciate the support and encouragement to continue doing something we love and sharing it with you.
Thanks in advance for checking that out. As always, we start this episode with 3 things. First is a generic trigger warning. You can find specific triggers for this book in our show notes, so please check those out. We also use foul language and talk a lot about sex. If you have sensitivity to either of those things, our podcast probably isn't for you.
Second, our episodes talk about books, the whole book, nothing but the book, so help me goddess. If you don't want something spoiled, don't listen to this episode.
And finally, we acknowledge that a good book can hit you at the wrong time. Our views discussed in our episodes are our opinion, and we don't want to diminish the work or the talents of the authors in our community. That said, we have some notes. What are we talking about today, Katie?
Today, we are talking about part 2 of Swordheart by T. Kingfisher. And this is part 2 of 3, and we're going to be covering chapters 20 through 39. And then in 2 weeks, we will cover part 3, which is chapters 40 onward. And then at the end of that thing, we will do our ratings. So a couple of things about this recording. One, we're at a sound booth for the first time ever, which is kind of cool.
It's pretty cool.
Thank you, Orlando Public Library. And also, I'm a little bit sick still, and so if my voice sounds a little bit deeper or weirder, that's why. Apologies, but I've been sick for like a week and a half and we can't not record, so here we are.
And if we miss any like stray coughs,
sorry.
We're gonna do our best. But I'm excited. This is our first time recording in person in real life.
I know.
Like the 3 years we've been doing this.
It's exciting.
I know. It's really cool to see your face not on the screen.
Yeah, and it's really exciting that we don't have to deal with like Discord having a knipshit for like no reason.
It does have knipshits.
All the time. It's fine. 90% of the time it's fine. And it's also free, so I'm not complaining that much. But sometimes she's a little bit of a diva. Anyway.
Same.
We digress. So when we last left our merry band of assholes, they had just left Barty's house. And they're continuing on to the capital, which is Archon's glory. And they're going there to seek help from the White Rat Temple. And that is to get access to Hala's inheritance. On the way, we're introduced to the concept of gnolls, which are like badger-adjacent creatures that showed up literally out of nowhere 20 years ago in this world, and now they're like integrated into society. Adorable.
I want their origin story, because it's just like they poofed into existence, and everyone's like, okay, we can use you. And they have their own caste system that we'll learn more about.
Yeah.
And the gnolls are my favorite.
So I think this might be one of those things that like, this book is in like a larger universe kind of thing. I wonder if in one of the other books we get like the gnoll origin story, or if like they appear as the part of the events of like some other book, That
would be fun. I'm down to read more in this universe.
Me too. I don't know if we can cover it for this podcast, but we'll find out.
But maybe just for funsies.
Yeah. Anyway, so as a product of this conversation, Sarkis realizes that a lot has changed since the last time he was out of the sword. This prompts Hala to ask if he wants to go back to his homeland, but Sarkis tells her, quote, "I will not go back to the Weeping Lands. As long as I do not, then in my heart they are still there, still alive, unchanged. If I return, I will see what hundreds of years have wrought, and my heart will know that they are dead."
Like, give me chills all over again.
I know. It's such a poetic way to say that.
Yeah. And Sarkis, later in this book, I don't remember which part, there's some commentary about like what home means as like my homeland and my family versus my home, and like losing a culture. So we read a lot of vampire books, but I think this take on immortality, like looking at it at such a human way, is really different than the way we usually see it. It's sort of like, you're immortal, cool. And you see the passage of time, but watching Sarkis like realize that where he came from like just doesn't exist anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we were on air when we talked about this, but the fact that he goes in the sword, doesn't know how much time passes, and then comes out is so much different than like being a vampire and watching the change.
Yeah.
Like he has no idea how long it's been.
Exactly. Yeah.
It seems really tragic.
It does. And it's almost like, I think it's interesting too because he didn't necessarily sign up for that or like know that he was signing up for that when he went into the sword. Like I feel like when you become a vampire, that's like there's like a playbook for that, you know? And I feel like it's interesting in this context because there's not a playbook for what he is. And like even as we'll see in a little bit in part 2, like other learned people are like, no girl, like I've never heard of this before. Like this is a you thing.
Yeah.
I have no answers for you, right? Like whereas vampires, it's like, well, somebody turned you. You have a vampire like community or like whatever.
Someone remembers this,
right? Whereas here, it's just like it's literally just you and maybe two other people. That's
that you
it.
don't know where they are, how to find them.
Right. Good luck.
Ugh. For such a lighthearted story, there's a lot of this sort of like heavy existential questions.
I know
that are undercurrenting. I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah.
That are an undercurrent.
Yeah.
For the story.
Sure. And I feel like that was a through line with Nettle and Bone too, which is why I liked it because it was whimsical, and this one is like decidedly like. I was going to say half-hearted. That's not what I wanted to say. Lighthearted. That's where I was going. Much more lighthearted, but dealing with these like very tough, like wicked questions.
Yeah. That's so good. T. Kingfisher, I want to interview you.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
I choose you.
So they go directly to the Temple of the White Rat. Do not pass go. Do not collect $100. And they're very forthcoming with the priest/lawyer who sees them, Zale. So Zale performs a number of tests, but soon determines that this is like far above their pay grade and sends them along to a bishop who also performs some tests to ensure that the magic is indeed real and not some elaborate ruse.
Okay. So I was a little, look, these tests are fun. It was delightful, but I was a little bit confused because they go to the Temple of the White Rat to get help with her inheritance, which has nothing to do with Sarkis.
No.
Why are you even telling them about this magic sword?
Well, I think it's germane to the story because, like, they can't. That's kind of been a through line. Like, she didn't want to tell her family about the magic sword.
Yeah.
Didn't want to tell Barty about it. Like, I think they're just being as honest as they can be.
That makes sense.
So that, like, the White Rat has, like, all of the information.
Help me,
Yeah.
please.
I have these set of problems. What do we do about that?
Because I kind of forgot, like, why we were at the temple because they focused so much on Sarkis and the sword. And I'm like, are we here to prove the magic? No, we're here to get a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? But the tests are delightful, I think.
I think so, too. There's like a very almost childlike quality to the way that everybody who encounters the sword, like, in good faith, like, interacts with Sarkis.
Yeah.
Which I find really, like, I don't know. I think maybe because I've had a daughter recently, like, I've just been rediscovering, like, play.
Yeah.
Like, just play for play's sake. And that's kind of what it feels like to me.
That is what it feels like. Like, and there's no ulterior motive. Mm-mm. I mean, even, we'll get to it later, but the bishop mentions, like, selling the sword or buying the sword from Hala, but it's just, like, out of curiosity, not out of any sort of, like, desire for power.
Right.
And all of the tests of, like, Hala gets really into the tests. So, like, well, we could test it with a mirror or, like, a cage. Like, she's also into, like, testing it. She's like, yeah, let's go. She's like, I know it's true, but, like, here's how I could prove it.
Right. And she's like, we could keep going. Oh, sorry. Okay, you're done. We're done. We're good. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. It is very childlike in that just, like, imagination and exploration. Mm-hmm. And it's so wholesome.
Yeah. So at some point, the bishop asks Hala to leave the room during these tests and then asks Sarkis if he thought Hala would sell the sword. So, like Liz was mentioning. He says, of course not. And indeed, when Bishop offers to do the same to Hala, with Sarkis not in the room, she vehemently refuses. She also checks in, the bishop, with Hala to make sure, like, super duper, like, I know that you said this, but Sarkis was in the room, and now that he's back in his sword, Sarkis didn't kidnap you, right? Like, you want to be here? And Hala's like, yes, 100%, I'm not kidnapped. Just to make super sure.
Double super sure, not kidnapped. I like him. He's great. He's protecting me. It's all good. I like that they do multiple people check in with her on, like, are you
good?
Actually good?
Yeah.
And this, I mentioned this in part 1, but the bishop here, Hala's talking about her cousin and how he has clammy hands. Ew. And this is another part where the bishop takes it very seriously and is like, say no more, not the clammy hands. And I just think it's like these little kind of dumb details that just make the writing so fun.
Yeah. I love that. Like, and the bishop is so serious.
So serious.
Like, not putting it on.
Like, say no more. Understood. Can't marry someone with clammy hands.
Absolutely not. So the temple agrees to send one of their priests back with them to Rutgers Howe in order to settle the matter of the inheritance kerfuffle. But in the meantime, while that priest is getting ready, they have some time to kill. So Hala wants to buy some new clothes, and they go to the market. She decides that she doesn't want to look like a nun-to-be anymore. So on the way to the market, they debrief about the interaction with the bishop, and it makes Sarkis realize what he actually wants. He wants to know Hala biblically. So he kisses her. And immediately his inner monologue is like, this is such a bad idea. Like, this is a royally, such a terrible, why, so stupid. How could you do this?
Worst thing you have ever done in your whole immortal existence.
Right. And the reason that he feels that way is not because he didn't enjoy the kiss, but he feels like Hull is in a position where she can't really say no. Which, if you can't say no, that's not consent.
Exactly.
Which I appreciate.
Yes.
And so he breaks the kiss and apologizes. Even though Hala says that she didn't really mind it. He's like, you would, of course you would say that. Like, I'm a huge warrior.
To say that.
I'm in charge of your protection. Like, this is, yes, you would say that. But they awkwardly continue on to the market so Hala can buy different clothes.
I was really glad that he kissed her, like, early because, okay, Nettle and Bone is a romance, but it's very, like, romance light TM. Like, it's sort of a background story where this is first and foremost a romance, and I wasn't sure if we would get any smut.
Yeah.
And we don't get a lot, but we do get some.
We do get some.
And I thought it was going to be a closed door fade to black.
Right. It was very T Kingfisher smut.
Yes, because it's also awkward and whimsical.
Yes.
In the best way, which we'll get
amazing.
there. But when he kissed her, I was like, I honestly thought that this book was just going to be this protracted longing until the end. And we weren't really, like, it was going to end with a kiss.
Yeah.
So when he kisses her here halfway through, or a third of the way through, I was like, okay. And he's like thinking about her boobs and stuff.
Yeah. And it's really funny because he's thinking about her boobs in like a Song of Solomon kind of way,
Yes.
which is just really fucking funny.
It's so good. Like, I can't even get it across. Just the way it's written is hilarious. The Song of Solomon. He can't handle her boobs. They're too exquisite.
They're just the most perfect breasts, which really gave me oh gosh, Princess Bride vibes as well.
Yes. When he goes through that whole thing.
There's a shortage of perfect breasts in the world. It would be a shame to mar yours or something to that
Yeah,
effect.
it's something
like,
to that
so
effect.
good.
That's very much the vibe.
So again, in the market, Sarkis is impressed by Hala's ability to navigate sellers and haggle using her stupid woman ruse. But anyway, at the end of this, Hala asks Sarkis if he wants anything, and all he can answer is, quote, nothing they sell at this market, because his mind is firmly in the gutter.
Oh, yeah. He wants her immediately and biblically, and you can't buy that at the market.
No, unfortunately not. And this is where a lot of the breast thinking is coming through.
Well, because she buys, I don't know if she's put on her new dress.
Yeah, she has.
Okay. So she's put on her new dress, and it's not like a nun's habit, and it pushes her boobs up, and he's like, whoa, clothes are different back in my day. And he, like, can't look away.
Yeah, he's like, you're practically naked.
Like, she's fully not, but he can't handle it.
The swell of a woman's breast. Anyway. So they check into a hostel for the night, and Sarkis is not happy that they have to sleep in different gendered rooms. So he makes Hala promise to sleep with the sword and summon him should any trouble arise, like immediately. He then asks her what she'll do if she can't get the inheritance from Silas. And she really hasn't thought that far yet. She's like, I don't know. And he's like, okay, well, if that happens, you have to sell the sword. And she's horrified at that idea because she very much sees Sarkis as a person and not like an object to sell. She's like, I wouldn't. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, like, I don't condone slavery, so I can't sell you.
No.
And I don't blame her because even reading the book, I think of them as two separate things too.
I do too.
Like, the sword is his home, but like, he's not the sword.
Yeah.
So you think about her selling the sword isn't selling him.
Right.
But it is.
So, okay, in that same like thought process, the only thing about this book that I'm a little bit disappointed about is that he doesn't actually ever wield himself.
But can he?
I don't know. They didn't test it.
I know, and that bothers me because he's corporeal. He can exist with the world, but he has his own sword.
He does have his own sword that comes with him out of the sword.
I am curious what would happen if he picked up his sword.
Right.
And how could they not test that? Because they get real sciencey later.
They do. I mean, I don't know. So I will be 100% honest here. I don't know if there's like he never touched the sword, but he certainly doesn't like
pick it up and brandish it.
Yeah, he doesn't like fight with it or something.
Yeah. He's got his own. I mean, he says things like, I can't wield myself, but I think he really means it as like he can't draw himself.
Right.
But yeah, can he touch it? What happens if you touch it?
Can I have it? Anyway.
Can I have it?
So with the rest of the time that they have that evening, Hala takes Sarkis to the library. She thinks that they might be able to uncover how long Sarkis has been in the sword and maybe more a little bit about his history.
It's really sweet.
It's really sweet.
I love the way she proposes it too. She's like, I hope you're not offended by this, but I thought maybe we could go find out about like the Weeping Lands.
Yeah.
And he's like, your boobs are so pretty and you're so nice.
And the eyes are the nipples of the face. What?
What?
Excuse me. Sorry. What were we talking about?
It's just so cute.
And so Sarkis even tells us, quote, it had been so long since a wielder had cared where he was from, had even seen him as a person with a history rather than a weapon, that he had almost lost sight of the question himself.
I know.
So libraries are really awesome places, and they are indeed successful when they go try to find more information about him. They find a scholar, and they use the ruse of trying to understand whether cultural lore has any historical merit rather than outright saying that Sarkis is an ancient magical sword, which might engender more questions.
Yes. They are selective on who they tell.
Yes.
And they were really, I mean, Hala goes with a whole preconceived, like, ploy that Sarkis is really surprised by.
Yeah, like it's her idea to like use that cover story, and Sarkis is like, oh, you thought about this.
I love you.
I love you. And your boobs.
Take your clothes off.
Take your clothes off. So the historian helps Sarkis piece together that the king, who had a hand in him and his captains being put into enchanted swords, only held power for 5 years.
Oh.
Crushing. And the battle that brought him to power was roughly 450 years ago. Whoops.
Ouch.
But he also learned the fate of the young leopard. His family had not used him because they did not need to, and even now they enjoy peace and they're absorbed into a larger empire. Sarkis is very grateful for the opportunity, and though he's tempted to kiss Hala again to thank her, he restrains himself.
I thought this was so interesting. I loved reading the history of the lands, but he, in his vague reminiscences about that battle, talks about it being like world changing, and then he learns that the change happened for 5 years.
It wasn't.
It didn't change really anything.
Yeah.
Was crushing. But then the leopard's family, like, because he wonders, like, why did they never draw me? Like, how did I end up even where I was? But the fact that they've just lived in peace, like, that's really nice.
It is really nice. And he has much fonder memories with the leopard because, like, he talks about how they were fighting and, like, carving out this space for peace.
Yeah.
And, like, one of the last times that he, like, spoke with the leopard was like, I hope my family never has to use you. Like,
And
that's
then
my
they
goal.
haven't.
I know.
Which is really nice.
It's really beautiful.
I do wonder where, we don't really find out, but, like, and I know that's part of the magic of it, but, like, how the sword even gets to where it ends up. Because we can't map, like, Sarkis's path. Like, the leopard's family never drew him, but at some point they gave him away or something.
Yeah,
Or he
or,
got
like,
lost, like.
A random sword just got, like, chucked in with a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the way out of the library, a messenger beckons them and tries to get Hala to follow him into an alleyway. But Sarkis' eyes adjust to the dim light, and he sees more men there and knows that this is not a messenger, but a ruse. He tells Hala to run, and he fights off the men to great effect, though it's unclear whether he actually kills anybody. I don't think he does.
I don't think he does.
He seriously injures at least one of them.
Yeah, but I don't think he kills anybody.
Yeah. So after they're sorted, he tries to look for Hala, but he only sees ladies of the night on the street, and they refuse to give him any information one way or the other about Hala. Sarkis eventually has to hope that Hala will meet him back at their hostel, and eventually she does.
I love this whole Ladies of the Night bit because he comes running out covered in blood and is like, where did she go? And they have what I think is a really interesting conversation because the prostitutes are like, why would we tell you?
Absolutely not.
No, like we're protecting her. I don't care what you say, who you are. He's like, I'm her protector. And they're like, no.
I don't know. You could be lying.
Yeah, like good luck.
Yeah,
like
bye.
we stand by our own. And it's so well written because at first it just seems like I read it almost as if like they were mad that he like wasn't a customer or they were just like kind of snooty. And then it unfurls in this really well-written way of like, no, like they're protecting Hala just as a woman on the street.
Right.
And I just thought it was such a like nice little dig of like, not all men, but always a man.
Always a man, yeah. Man or a bear, choose a bear.
Exactly.
And I think it's interesting because we find out that like they didn't actually see Hala.
No.
But when she comes looking for Sarkis, they do tell her where Sarkis
Exactly. They tell her where he went.
Yeah.
Those are girls.
So now that they're safe, Sarkis can't help but address the well of feelings he now holds for Hala. Admiration, tenderness, desire.
Oh.
And as he mulls over those feelings before falling asleep, another thought occurs to him. The would-be attackers knew Hala was from Rutgers Howe, but Hala and Sarkis had not said anything about Rutgers Howe when they were in line for the temple or anywhere else when they were in the city. So how did the attackers know that? Hala, too, has a head full of thoughts before bed. She keeps thinking about the kiss and why Sarkis had seemed irritated after it.
Yeah, because ouch.
Yeah. She assumes she must have done something wrong or not done something that she was supposed to. And she's disheartened because she quite likes the idea of doing more with Sarkis, except for the complication about potential pregnancy. And that is the one thing that holds her way, way back.
I love the way this is. We'll get to it at the end of part 3, but the way the pregnancy trope figures itself out, I think, is hilarious.
The way it manifests in the story is very funny.
It's so funny.
So the next morning, Zale, the rat priest, meets them. They volunteered for the job because they are just so intrigued by Sarkis and Hala and like their whole vibe. Plus, they're a very good lawyer, which I love. Zale is my favorite character, hands down.
Zale is amazing. I would read books just about Zale and their adventures.
Same.
Also, I love the religion in this book. We get a couple different sects, but like the fact that the Temple of the Rat Priest, we get some of the lore and like they don't really know, but they're basically just lawyers. It's a lawyer club. You go to the Temple of the Rat if you need a lawyer.
Right.
And I just think that's really fun.
I do too. I like the idea of, and I think we got a little bit of this in Nettle and Bone, but I just like the practicality of that.
Yeah.
Like I know very little about like ancient religions, but it really feels like more of an ancient religion way to go about it.
Yeah.
Like we worship this thing because it has practical implications for us, which makes sense.
Exactly.
So Zale arrives on a wagon painted with a white rat motif and driven by a gnoll named Brindle and his ox. Brindle is a job gnoll. So we were talking about the caste system earlier, and like Brindle is like kind of like higher on the caste system because he has a job.
Yeah, I don't remember what the other gnolls are called. Like, I was like trash gnolls, but like they're like cleaner gnolls.
Yeah.
Versus like running an ox.
I think they're task
gnolls?
something like that.
Something like that.
I'm not saying the right word, but something like that.
Something like that. And Brindle, we understand the caste system not because it's like explained to us, but in the way that Brindle talks about it. Where he's like very prideful. He's like, no, I'm a job gnoll. Like,
Right.
I'm not doing any of that. But then there's like respect for the like task gnolls or whatever they're called. And I just think the gnolls are delightful.
Yeah. It's like very much like I'm going to stay in my lane and they stay in their lane, and that's how it is.
Exactly. And Brindle, we'll get some quotes from him, but he talks about gnolls kind of as one unit.
A collective.
Yeah, so he never says I or me. He says like a gnoll does XYZ. Like a gnoll protects his ox.
A
like,
gnoll thinks humans think too much.
Yeah, and even when he addresses others, he's like, a human can't smell.
Right.
And just talks to them in this like third person way, and I just think it's delightful.
It's very delightful. So despite the fact that Brindle and his ox are very endearing, the only problem is that this ox is very slow. Sarkis tells us, quote, I could walk to Rutgers Howe and back in the time this beast will take.
They can literally walk faster.
Yeah, it's really funny. At some point, somebody says something to the effect, I don't think I pulled out the exact quote, but it's something to the effect of like, the ox is only slightly faster than a horse walking backwards.
Yeah. And there's multiple points where like one of them is literally just walking next to the ox.
Just like, okay,
this is fine, I guess. Well,
cool.
and it's also funny too. So we were talking off mic about time blindness.
Yeah.
And Sarkis has kind of the thought of he's like, oh, this is taking forever. And he's like, but what's
else
my
am I gonna
hurry?
do?
Like, where am I gonna? There's literally no rush.
Yeah.
But there's something about just going slow when you don't have to that's just infuriating.
Yeah. And especially like, because I'm kind of a fast walker, so I know exactly how he feels of like, oh my God, this is taking forever. Like if I get stuck behind a dawdler at the airport or something,
It's
oh
the
my God.
worst. Even if I'm in no hurry, like I have plenty of time, it's just like, don't constrain my movement.
Right. Don't tell me how to live my life.
It's slightly faster than a horse walking backwards.
So they travel and quickly come upon a suburb where the hanged mother is burning books.
Ugh.
Always a good sign. They ask Zale about their business, and Zale is very good at pushing these guys off. Zale, Hala, and Sarkis all agree that the hanged mother guys are the collective worst.
They're crazy.
They're crazy. So they camp for the night, and even Sarkis has to agree that traveling with Zale in the wagon is much nicer than hoofing it on their own because they get things like breakfast.
Yeah, and they have like fire and the warmth of the ox.
Yeah.
And Zale and Hala sleep inside.
Yeah,
They have
it's
like
nice.
beds and stuff for now.
So as they continue on, they run experiments with Sarkis and what does and does not happen in the sword. So, for example, they make him pee in a jug and then they send him back in the sword. And when he disappears, so does his piss. Science.
Pretty cool. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, me too. Which comes up later. So stay tuned. They even make him drink so much that he has to pee really bad. And then they send him back inside. And when he comes back out, he doesn't have to pee anymore.
That's pretty snazzy.
Yeah.
It's so funny when they're talking about this because they're talking about like the pee going back in there with him. And they make the illusion like, okay, it would be like other bodily waste too. And I think Sarkis says, he's like, are you saying my sword is full of shit?
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
Maybe.
No more than it's full of tongues that got cut out of your mouth.
Yeah. They wanted to run this experiment because he talked about this guy, a wielder, who would cut out his tongue every time he came out, which is like terrible. But Sarkis is like, I mean, it grew back.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And it's just the way they talk about it. It's just so... And he's so awkward and grumpy about it too.
Oh my God. He's not having a good time, but he can't not admit that he's learned something about himself.
Exactly. Because these are questions that he never even really thought about.
Yeah. Well, and it's so cute because Zale and Hala are like two peas in a fucking pod, these two.
I love them so much together.
They're like the besties with and without testes. I don't actually know if Zale has testes. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to say with testes.
I think it's better.
Anyway, it's really funny. But of course, the motherhood can't stand fun. And so some priests catch up to them and bother them. Again. They demand to search the wagon. Hala prevents this by eventually bursting into tears and making the priests so uncomfortable they leave. Which I love.
Yes. Men can't handle tears.
No. Especially not these stunted men.
Nope.
At one point during the journey, we learn this adorable fact about the ox, which is its name is Prettyfoot. It's slightly different in knowledge, but Brindle says that Prettyfoot is so named because of his good hooves. Very reliable.
The way that Brindle talks about Prettyfoot is just my favorite thing.
It would be like your favorite show pony that you were related to.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very strange vibe.
It's very... I want to say it's like almost romantic. Because it's like not a pet. It's like this level of respect for the ox. It's like, don't touch my ox.
Don't touch my ox.
My
Don't
ox is
fucking bother my ox.
Don't bother my ox. That's all that matters, that my ox is okay.
Right. Because I'm a job knoll. And this is my job
now. This is my whole job.
You can't take that away from me.
It's very endearing. Very reliable.
So then, of course, the motherhood is back.
The same ones. It's like the same two dudes.
The same two dudes.
Repeatedly.
And the group comes to the conclusion, this time they just like ride by and glare. Fine. But the group, our merry band of assholes, concludes that the motherhood has beef with the white rat because even though all the other religions also hate the motherhood, the white rat is the one that litigates cases. So they've, in essence, become the face for the resistance and a target for hatred.
Nice.
But, this time they just get weird looks like Regina George is glaring at you at lunchtime or something.
I feel like we should start an underground railroad where the white rat, like in our real life right now, where a white rat is our symbol.
Yeah.
Because I like the face of the resistance. And like no one questions a rat.
No one questions a rat, especially a white rat. They look so cute.
And I'll be a little pest.
Yeah. So then they talk about the sword itself, and Zale is surprised that the magic hasn't run out. They can't help but be impressed by the magic craftsmanship. Sarkis describes the female smith as Zeth, the female smith that put him in the sword, that is. And Zeth is a term from his original language. It essentially describes somebody who does evil because they want to, not because they're insane.
A black witch.
Right, kind of like a serial killer.
Yeah.
And it's here in Sarkis' internal monologue that he starts to let on that there's something he hasn't told Hala about himself that she won't like. He will tell her, but only after this business with the inheritance is settled and she doesn't feel beholden to him. So... did you have a prediction for what this was?
I kind of did, and it's based on that like sentient sword from Robert Jordan, where like that sword in and of itself kind of goes crazy. And so I thought that whatever this like secret was that somehow I thought that like he turns on his wielder and kills his wielder after being like used a certain amount of times.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that's what was coming. Like there's some timeline and she's going to die.
I had that exact same prediction. I was like, at some point he's going to have to kill her.
Yeah. That's totally what I thought it was.
But that's not what it is. So
no, it's fine. We'll get to it, but it's honestly fine.
I of the things in this book that I have like a little bit of feedback for, this is one that I was like, I can't relate to this at all.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm glad you said that because I was like, maybe it's just me and I'm jaded, but we'll get there.
Yeah. So the motherhood is back again. They just like need a hobby or something. And they stop the wagon and demand to search it. Zale pushes back hard, but eventually has to let them search. And it turns out that the wagon has a secret compartment, and the Motherhood guys knew exactly where to look, which means that they've harassed these wagons before. They find Zale's money, stash, and crossbow there. Nothing like illegal or contrabandy about it.
Yeah.
And Zale is not having it. He gives them absolute attitude about the crossbow. He says, quote, "It's a crossbow. You shoot it at things."
In case people accost me on the road.
Like you.
And then they talk about the money, too, and he's like, you think my money would just be, like, dangling all willy-nilly? Of course I have it put away.
Would you not? That would be stupid.
Yeah. Practicality.
So the Motherhood eventually decides to leave them alone because they have found nothing and they have no reason to detain them. But one of them warns them ominously that they're watching.
Cool.
Zale fires back that the eyes of the white rat see farther. And I love that he's just like, yeah, me too, bitch. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Also, like, I'm a lawyer. I can get you on this.
Right.
You are violating rights out here.
Exactly.
Me too, bitch.
After they leave, Hala compares them to a petty miller back home who lorded his tiny bit of power over everyone. Zale announces that they're going to write a book, quote, "Wit and Witticisms of Mistress Hala."
Yes. I would
love
read that book.
Me too. Because she goes off about this guy for like fully 5 minutes and they're just both like, okay.
That's where Hala is such a delight because she uses this like stupid girl vibe to get out of things, but then sometimes she'll just go off on tangents that like don't actually make sense in her genuine personality.
Yeah. So they go on to talk about how Sarkis originally got into the sword and what was happening around that time. Sarkis reveals that he watched his two friends, Angarad and the dervish, go through the process before him.
Ugh.
He tells them that Angarad went first and she, quote, "didn't cry out. She was always strong and silent as an ox." But he says that the dervish screamed. Sarkis says that he still hears them screaming sometimes when he's dying. Hala grabs his hand without thinking and just squeezes. And she's just honestly so awkwardly sincere about it. And it's like one of those instances where both of them are so obviously into each other and they're like, but we're just friends. She doesn't see me like that.
Like, she's holding your hand.
Bro.
She wants to hold your hand and she loves you too.
On the heels of this conversation, Zale says that Sarkis is probably dead. Sorry. And he thinks that Sarkis is going to like freak out, but Sarkis starts laughing and says, quote, "Of course I'm dead. I've died more times than I can count." Like he's not bothered by that.
No, and
at all.
Zale's so worried to say it. And he's like, yeah, what else would I be?
No, I'm fully alive. Like, of course I'm dead.
Yeah, like, of course I'm dead. Like, I'm not a ghost, but like, I know I'm dead.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm not
Thank
a
you so
real
much.
human being.
And Zale's like, "Oh, thank God. I thought you were going to like really lose your shit."
He's so gentle about it. Like, I fear I must tell you.
Yeah, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but
It's like, you might want to sit down for this.
Yeah. So they continue running experiments with the sword. They establish that hunger, thirst, and a full bladder will reset when Sarkis goes back in the sword, and he does not enjoy being a guinea pig. He says, quote, "I haven't had anyone this concerned about my bladder since my mother trained me out of split pants." He also has to eat a heroic amount of porridge to test fullness, and he's never looked at porridge the same again, and never will.
It's so funny.
It's just like, I hate this.
It's delightful because usually we kind of complain about travel montages, but
Yeah.
like there's so much that happens in this travel montage that's just fun
Yes.
that I don't mind it.
I don't either.
This whole book is really one big travel montage.
It is. They just travel the same road back and forth a couple of times.
Yeah, and it's great.
Yeah, I don't mind it. So Zale is deeply impressed by the Sorcerer Smith's work and calls her a genius. They note that the magic converts food and air into what seems like a real body, but isn't truly reliant on regular biological processes. They say, quote, "Even killing your body only pauses the magic temporarily. In theory, at least, you are nearly immortal." And this is when they bring up that, like, they aren't aware of any other magical thing like this.
Yeah.
Like, this whole idea of immortality is, like, not something that magic typically does.
No, which is so fascinating.
Yeah. But Sarkis can't help but say that he's tired of being immortal. He tells them that he would like to be allowed to die. Like, not right now, but, like, someday.
I want the choice.
Yeah. And he says that he wants to die before, quote, "I am nothing but silver scars, before I've forgotten what it was like to be human." Hala again takes his hand and squeezes, and that's when he admits that the last few weeks have been a respite from the monotony of being a warrior.
Yeah.
He hasn't had to murder very many people, and no one has chopped off any part of his anatomy, so that's an improvement.
Just the bar is in hell.
The bore of the, yeah, look.
I haven't killed anybody, and my tongue has remained firmly in my mouth.
I love that for me.
Jesus.
Jesus. So then Zale warns them that the motherhood guys are back, and this time it's clear that they are not searching, they're harassing, because the rat is a thorn in the mother's side. Hala has had enough. She jumps off the wagon, marches up to one of the guys, and just starts screaming in his face about how unfair everything is, and then she bursts into tears. And it's at least 90% intentional, because she already knows that the men panic when women cry. But she also says that she ends up crying when she's mad, which I immediately thought of you.
Girl, same. It's infuriating, and I hate it so much.
Yeah.
I have not been able to work on it.
No, look, it's the well of emotions. I get it.
I know. Thankfully, I haven't had opportunity to be mad lately, so, like, it's okay.
That's great.
But it's so demeaning. I want to just, like, get my point across, and then when you cry, people think you're sad, and I'm not sad. I'm enraged.
I'm enraged and I'm frustrated.
Yes.
Yeah. So this guy tries to shove Hala away to get him away from him, but she trips on a rock and falls, and the Sarkis just sees red. And he charges at this dude with a sword. Whoops. And so he's fighting this guy with a sword while one of the other guys draws his sword from horseback. The ox gets bumped by the horse, gets annoyed, and turns his horns toward it, dragging the whole wagon sideways. Brindle ends up getting pissed off about that because now they're harassing his ox and he's a job knoll. And so he ends up shooting this guy in the throat with Zale's crossbow while Sarkis takes out the other dude with his sword. And at the end of this, Zale just looks at these two dead guys and says, quote, well, this is going to be a problem.
Zale, the most practical human, is like, fuck.
And it is a problem because now they have two dead motherhood priests.
Not a practical situation to be in.
No. Yeah. But it's really cute because in the aftermath, everybody blames Spirals for a minute. They're like, it's my fault. No, it's my fault. But Sarkis cuts through and says, quote, far be it for me to interrupt the mutual self-flagellation, but Brindle and I actually did the killing. So they decide they have to hide the bodies. Hala's remarkably calm about this whole thing, which is simultaneously heartening and a little alarming to Sarkis. She tells Sarkis that she's laid out bodies of her sisters, her mother, her husband, her great uncle, the cook. She says, quote, dead bodies don't worry me. It's the live ones that get you. Very practical.
She's very practical.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, Zale is vomiting in the bushes.
Yeah, Zale is struggling.
They cannot handle what's happening right now.
No.
But they're doing their best. They rally. It's like
They rally. They puke and rally.
Okay.
Like peak millennial in the late 2000s.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have that in my head sometimes on the rare occasion that in my 30-something-year-old years I will drink too much and throw up. Doesn't happen often, but happens sometimes.
Yep.
And my brain literally goes, boot and rally. And I'm like, no, go to bed.
Go to bed. Just go to sleep. Sleep it off.
Which is what I do.
Yeah. Maybe have a little Pedialyte for fur before.
Exactly.
So Sarkis rides the dead man's horses away, and then when he gets far enough away, he just kind of poofs out of existence, which is honestly kind of handy.
It's super handy.
Yeah.
You can't lose him.
No, you can't lose him. Meanwhile, the group has to figure out what to do with the actual bodies in the wagon.
Oops.
They can't bury them because the ground is frozen, and they can't take them to the temple. So Hala comes up with a plan. You find a frozen pond, and you shove them under the ice. And Zale is like, quote, clearly you have a fine criminal mind.
You're my lawyer.
And Hala says, quote, well, it's not like I've hidden a body in a pond before. It's just that one of the goats drowned one fall, and we didn't find the body until spring.
So, handy.
Handy.
Use what you know.
Use what you know. So they try to find the right pond, but it takes them down this, like, what they call a pig road, which I guess is just like a path through the woods that you drive pigs on.
I assume, so you know in Florida where there's like hogs and when you're driving kind of like out by the beach, there's like those paths like through the brush.
Yeah.
I read it like that's just like the typical path that the pigs take.
Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
it's big enough for them to drive down.
Yeah.
So, I don't
Which
know.
is handy. And they eventually get through this like creepy hollow way. Like it's described as like literally a sunken road, which I thought was cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
I could picture it so clearly.
And at some point along this road, they do find a pond, and they end up, I don't know if they were shoving them under the ice or just kind of on top of the ice.
It seemed like they kind of put them on top of the ice and then sort of like put some leaves over them and then like cut off the white rat symbol of like the sheets that they were.
Yep.
Zale's very verklempt because like they're out of sheets. Like
Yes.
they've used sheets for hiding bodies and like other things, and the bedding is mostly gone.
Yeah, the bedding's mostly gone, which is kind of a problem. But they will soldier on. But yeah, it was like, okay, I mean, the pond is kind of out in the middle of nowhere, so you're probably fine anyway. But like, it's not like they like shoop under the ice.
No, which is what I thought they were gonna do. But they
Yeah.
just sort of put them like pond adjacent and
Right.
like kick some dirt over them.
Yeah, it's probably fine. So they do this. Body's gone. Cool. But the problem is that they can't turn the wagon around on this like pig road thing, and so they have to keep going forward. And eventually, this like hollow sunken road situation dumps them into what's called the Vagrant Hills. The Vagrant Hills are like a magical situation, and you don't want to be lost in them.
They're like haunted hills.
Haunted hills, and they should be much farther south, but apparently they moved. And Zale tends to think that it's because Sarkis was there. He says, they say something to the effect of, well, I'm sure they just wanted to get a better look at you.
Yeah. And there's like this lore that the Vagrant Hills will kind of snatch you up. So they do roam, but they typically don't roam this far.
Yeah.
And I love how Sarkis is like, what the fuck is this land? What do you mean your hills move?
Decadent Southerners.
Decadent Southerners. And Zale and Holler are just like,
I don't know.
They just do.
Look, they're not my hills.
Yeah, like I try to avoid them because they're scary and you're told to avoid them.
Right.
But we're here now, so
You got to deal with it.
It's you. It's your fault.
Your
You're
fault.
magical and they smell you or something.
Right. So inside these hills, everything is weird. The seasons are wrong. Like it's still summer there while it's clearly winter outside of them. They encounter a rune, which is a deer-headed stag person with antlers and green hair and hoofed feet and spears. And like one of them is like the tallest one. It's about 7 feet tall before the antlers. And so like Sarkis and Zale and Brindle to a certain extent are kind of shitting themselves, but Hala is like so enthralled. She says, quote, "This is amazing. What do you think they eat?
She just wants to know about the world.
I just want to know all the things." So the rune kind of bring up this human translator, and she appears like a little bit older, but it's clear that she's been living among the rune voluntarily. She speaks broken common tongue and helps them communicate, and the rune recognizes Sarkis as connected to the sword and asks if he wants to be freed from it. Sarkis' heart nearly stops. He's like,
What?
could you do that?
Do you have that power?
Is that a thing that you can do?
I'm like, will it hurt?
And even though he's like into that, he knows that he can't leave Hala, not yet. So because she still needs him, he says, maybe we'll come back to it when we've got all of this other stuff settled.
If you can find them again.
Right.
That's the risk, right? They
Yeah.
move.
So the rune let them pass, and they continue on their journey. They decide that their best option is to continue going forward because even if they turn around, the hills are really going to decide whether they can leave or not.
Creepy.
Yeah, very creepy.
Fucking terrifying.
So that night, they sleep outside next to the ox for warmth. And Sarkis once again gathers Hala into his lap because she gravitates toward him in her sleep anyway. He imagines her waking up and turning to straddle him and saying, quote, "Oh no, are your legs asleep again? I'm sorry." Which kind of takes him out of the fantasy, but kind of doesn't.
He kind of likes that.
He kind of likes that. And Brindle ends up poking him and tells him to go to sleep. He's like, your thoughts are so loud.
It's like, stop.
Can you not?
I'm distracted by you thinking.
Right. So later that night, things get really creepy. Something big, like, whoops and shrieks in the distance. And they end up having this encounter with this, like, transparent, oily creature, which they end up calling sky swimmers. This one passes overhead like a manta ray made of glass. But one of them eventually drops on Sarkis like a living blanket of slime, which is disgusting. And it tries to like get in his mouth and under his clothes. And Hala has to sheath and unsheath the sword to save him. When Sarkis comes back out of the sword, he's disgusted and grossed out, but like totally fine.
He's totally fine.
Yeah. For now.
Horrified, but
Yeah.
fine.
But we find out that these sky swimmers are parasites because the next day, as they continue on their journey, they see a deer stumbling along covered in this thing. And it's got like these sores on its belly and it's like half mad. It's like eyes are like rolling around in its head. And like I read it as like part of the back of its head was like eaten.
That's what I was reading it as
Yeah.
too.
And so Brindle decides to mercifully put this thing out of its misery and shoots it with a crossbow.
Thank you, Brindle.
Yeah. So they keep going, but eventually they get to this wooded area, and they quickly realize that it's like a gauntlet of these sky swimmer things, and they're all like hanging from trees like sheets of ice, and it's eerie because when the wind blows, these things blow too.
It's so creepy. Like, you wouldn't think that these gelatinous things would be so scary, but it's horrific.
It's horrific. But this encounter serves to galvanize something in Hala because they are like legitimately in fear for their life because they know that if these things like wake up, they're all fucked.
Yeah, they can't kill this man. There's like hundreds of them.
Yeah. And so as they pass through, Hala thinks to herself that she might be in love with Sarkis. But she says, quote, "It would be incredibly stupid to turn to him right now and tell him that I was hopelessly in love with him." But she also thinks like, well, if this is the last time that I get to do anything, like, why not let it be awkward? That's just kind of like par for the course for me, right?
Yeah, like maybe it should just be awkward.
Right. But eventually they do emerge from this danger zone and they're fine. None of the things wake up and they continue on. And eventually they realize that they're coming out of the Vagrant Hills. And they know this because they pass the pond where they hit the bodies.
It's like they go in a straight path that's actually a circle.
Yeah. Like the hills just turn them around.
Yeah.
Which was kind of the hills, I guess.
I feel like passing through the Sky Swimmers was like their last test of like, do you deserve to leave?
Right.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Just like poke the bear a little bit.
Yeah. And they're like, all right, you can go now, I guess.
Yeah. So they made it through the hills and then they're remarkably close to the place where Barty lives and they decide to stop there. At Barty's house, they meet Nolan, a scholar priest from the Order of the Sainted Smith, which is a tiny, obscure religious order with, like, interesting artifacts. And Sarkis immediately notices that Nolan is, like, eyeing Hala's sword. He's just, like, spending way too much time with his eyes on the sword, and he's, like, uncomfortable about it.
He's the problem.
Yeah. Barty, on the other hand, is much more engaged, and he apologizes to Hala for not stepping up sooner and agreeing to come with them to Rutger's How to settle the inheritance. Sarkis is jealous when Barty hugs Hala, even though the man is old enough to be her father. He tells us, quote, "And I am several hundred years older than he is, so what does that say?"
That you're obsessed.
That you're obsessed. Yeah.
Obsessy spaghetti.
So they don't stay for long, and as they're riding out of the town, Sarkis is, like, deep in his feelings. He acknowledges that he's in love with Hala. There's no word for that in his language that quite fits, but he keeps trying to make it make sense to him. He knows that he has to tell Hala something about himself that's written on the sword, something that you won't like, but he hopes that if he waits until after the inheritance is settled, maybe she'll forgive him.
Whatever. We'll get there.
But of course, they can't have nice things, and so on their way out of the city, they get ambushed by highwaymen. Sarkis takes an arrow to the side, protecting Hala, and he immediately gets put back into the sword. The bandits demand that they stand and deliver, and so Hala shouts back, quote, "We can't stand, you're shooting at us. If you'd stop shooting, it'd be different."
I did love that.
But eventually Zale negotiates and they are able to stand and deliver. And when they do, guess who's with the bandits?
That bitch.
That bitch, Mina.
Who set Hala up in part 1.
Yes. So Mina's convinced that Hala is a wonder worker who makes people invisible because she saw Sarkis appear out of nowhere in a flash of blue light. The bandit leader is honestly like a pretty reasonable guy who seems exhausted by his own profession. He's just like really put out by this whole thing.
It's like, can we not?
Yeah. He sits Hala down and asks her whether she can make people invisible, and Hala, in peak Hala form, gives him a logical breakdown of why invisibility would actually be terrible for a highwayman. And the leader's just like,
I'm so
kind
tired.
of not the point.
He's like, this is really not the point. I just need to know. Her logic isn't wrong, though.
It's not wrong.
I think that's where the leader is like, okay.
Why am I doing this? Oh my
I
God.
want to go home.
I need this to be over. So this guy really doesn't know what to do, but he ends up tying Hala, Zale, and Brindle up and bringing them back to their, like, highwayman camp. And they're, like, going through their things. And so as they're doing this, one of the bandits draws Sarkis' sword to admire it, and Sarkis materializes and starts killing people, like, immediately.
So I had a question about this. So I was wondering this earlier. Like, I know this is just part of the magic, but, like, how the magic knows where ownership is? Because, like, if at some point the sword's just lost and someone picks it up, like, how does it know it has a new wielder? Because,
Yeah.
like, this guy draws a sword, and I don't know if it was here or some other point when someone else draws a sword. I'm like, does that shift ownership? Like, how does that, like, is there, like, a legal, like, I bequeath you this?
Right.
Like, that's what we get later, but if he's been lost,
Yeah.
there's got to be some, like, magic. Like, it has to know.
It has to
that
know.
no one has, like, claimed it.
Yeah.
Or that this random bandit is just opening it.
Right. Without permission.
Yeah.
I had that same thought, too. I think I had it when they were first at the temple.
Yeah.
And, like, Zale was opening and closing it, and the bishop was opening and closing it. I was like, is Sarkis theirs now? Like,
Yeah,
how does this
like,
work?
how does it know?
But I do like that kind of like hand wavy magic. Like, oh, the magic just knows.
Because I don't
kind of
mind.
thing.
I don't mind that.
I don't mind that.
No, but I do like that he emerges and is just like,
Rah!
I'm like, rah! And Mina's like, invisible.
Yeah. Yeah, Mina's like screaming about invisibility, and the leader of the bandits is just like, what the fuck is happening?
Happened.
Yeah.
Because he kills, I think, like 2 or 3 of them before anyone even like notices what's happening.
Yeah.
And his internal monologue is like, Hala didn't draw me. This is a problem. Must kill.
Must kill. But she's still alive because I still belong to Hala. I can feel it in the magic.
I can feel it in the magic. Ask
Right.
questions later. Kill everybody now.
Yeah. Kill everybody, ask questions later.
Meanwhile, Hala and Zale are the most chill.
The most chill. They're just like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense. This is happening.
Like gradually just chatting about getting untied.
So Sarkis wrecks the camp, and most of the bandits scatter, and he finds Hala tied to a tree. So he cuts her and Zale and Brindle free and says, quote, we are never going down the stretch of road again. Never. Which is really funny because that's literally the entirety of this book.
And they go back down the stretch of road later.
Yeah, they do. Mm-hmm. So the bandits are taken care of and they get back on their way. And as they do, Hala and Zale kind of like debrief. And this is when Hala accidentally confesses to Zale that she's, quote, over fond of Sarkis.
Lerv.
Whoops. She's mortified, but Zale, the best wing person ever, just smiles and says, quote, he cares for you. Never doubt it.
Oh.
And Hala's like, he can't possibly like me. I'm just a housekeeper. And Zale's like, you both are the worst.
You're both so dumb.
Oh my fucking God. So Hala goes to sleep knowing that Sarkis cares about her. Sarkis goes to sleep furious and confused and lovesick and determined. It's a great time.
It's a great time for everybody. They're all struggling.
They're all struggling. And that, dear listeners, is where we're going to end part 2 of our coverage of Swordheart by T. Kingfisher. Stay tuned for the stunning conclusion and our ratings in 2 weeks, where a merry band of assholes finds out about the inheritance and about Sarkis and all of the things. All right, we did it. Those are our thoughts on Swordheart by T. Kingfisher, part 2. Thank you, as always, for joining us on this journey. What did you think? You can let us know on the socials. You can find us on TikTok, YouTube, and Goodreads at Spice Traders Pod. And if you like our podcast and want more, consider joining our Patreon, where we release Patreon-exclusive episodes on our off weeks. And if you really, really like us, drop us a review wherever you listen. Until next time, we'll see ya.
Bye.
Bye.